Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, guys. How's my audio? And have you liked the stream? Confirm in the chat everything is okay. We're going to be responding to this utter crazy, insane video from Nick Fuentes. This title grabbed my attention. Let me actually read to you the title of this video. Look at this. Organized Jewry is scrambling to replace me. Wow. Okay. I was gonna watch it. I'm like, why should I watch it by myself when I could watch it with you? And let's just look at this guy. By the way, this guy is not going away. He's actually growing every goddamn day. He's becoming, I've been following him for a while, but I've never seen him this popular. Like, he's everywhere. He's the main person that people are referring to when it comes to the next big thing in politics in the United States. And he's only getting bigger every day. So we need to pay attention to this motherfucker. Okay, so great. Confirm that the audio is good. Thank you. So let me actually play a little bit of this, and you tell me if you have his audio as well. So let me actually play his video.
Last week, I did an extended show talking about all these Jewish conferences. I know how that sounds, but it's what it is. It's so weird because
it sounds racist. That's what it sounds like. That sounds racist. Let me know if you agree.
You talk to normal people and you feel like a crazy person.
Because you are a crazy person. You are. I mean, oh my God, he's becoming self-aware.
But you look at these things, and what else are you supposed to say?
Sounds like every other conspiracy nut job.
I did a whole show about it last week. I go on Tucker Carlson's show. It's really an uneventful interview. It's not even the best interview I've ever given. It's pretty boring, honestly.
Wow.
And it causes an...
Wow, he threw Tucker under the bus. I thought they were becoming buddies. He threw Tucker Carlson under the bus. Did you see that?
Go on Tucker Carlson's show. It's really an uneventful interview. It's not even the best interview I've ever given. It's pretty boring, honestly. And it causes an international crisis. It's another Holocaust. The anti-Semites are at the gates, And it's in the New York Times 5 days a week. It's in the Washington Post. The president is talking about it. People are making a personal appeal to the vice president. The Speaker of the House is getting involved. And
guys, imagine this kid, the president, the vice president, all of the U.S. media is talking about him. And he's like talking about it as if it's just like such a small thing. Like, he is so big that the fact that this many mainstream media and politicians in the United States, all the way from the president to so many congressmen and women and senators are talking about him, and it's amazing that he had managed to have this much influence at such a young age.
And then on the sideline of all that, the organized Jewish community is freaking out, and they hold their meetings. That's just how it works. They go to Las Vegas for the Republican Jewish Coalition Summit.
So somebody in the chat, Parisa in the chat, is asking, is this guy anti-Semitic? Parisa, if you go look up the definition of anti-Semitism in the dictionary, his picture is there. Okay, there's no definitions. They just put his picture there.
And they hold their meetings. That's just how it works. They go to Las Vegas for the Republican Jewish Coalition Summit. The Republican Jewish Coalition's what it is. And Mark Levin gets up and says, I'm tired of hearing about Gaza. Well, we'll tell you when we're done with Gaza. We're sick of hearing. We the Jews. This is what goes on.
Why do you care about Gaza?
After that, you get the World Jewish Congress. Go ahead and Google that. That's a real thing. It's run by the Rothschilds. And
it's amazing how it says that that's a real thing. Okay. We have so many different institutions and groups and committees for the Irish, for the Malay, for Arabs, for Chinese, for Japanese Americans, for Japanese Canadians, for yeah, we have so many different, like for example, we have so many different charity groups and institutions for Japanese in Canada. Why is it such a big deal that you have that for Jewish people? Why is it that everybody else could have these groups and these organizations and the Jews can't?
This is what goes on. Week after that, you get the World Jewish Congress. Go ahead and Google that. That's a real thing.
That's a real, like he's saying that as if like, oh my God, he exposed them. That's a real thing. So fucking what? There's so many other groups like this for so many different other identity groups.
It's run by the Roth.
Yeah, exactly. The cat lady is saying there was the Catholic conference just a few days ago. Yeah, exactly. There was like, I mean, what the fuck? What's wrong with having a Jewish group?
Childs and Ronald Lauder, not making that up. That's real. And they get together and they talk about.
So what? So what? Of course that's real. It would be weird if that wasn't real. I mean, any ethnic group that, if you tell me that they don't have a group, that would be the shocking thing. What the fuck?
About how Jews around the world are going to help Jewish people. And then they do the Conference of Major Jewish Organizations. They do the North American Jewish Federation. They do the Tikva Jewish Leadership Summit. Okay, so these are 5 different meetings that all happened in the past few weeks. And they all get together and they basically say the same thing, which is we need to shut it down.
Honestly, they're not having enough meetings. Like, where are you guys? Like, do you need to, given the rise of anti-Semitism, or as I like to call it, Jew hatred in the world, there needs to be more meetings, more gatherings, more strategy, brainstorming over like how to respond to all of this. Like, and in fact, it's obvious why we are going to have more meetings like this is because of the rise of you guys. This is a response to a global increase in Jew hatred. So it makes sense for them to be meeting with each other more.
They say people are noticing that we have all the power, and they notice that.
How do they have all the power? Then how are you so relevant if they have all the power? What do you mean they have all the power? In fact, so far in the past, the greatest act of genocide against Jews since World War II happened, and instead of the world uniting in protecting the Jews, the world is turning against them, and Israel's requests regarding what to do with Hezbollah and Gaza and the Houthis and the IRGC is being denied one after the other by Washington. How do they have all the power if so many things is not going their way? It's oh my God.
Say the same thing, which is we need to shut it down. They say people are noticing that we have all the power, and they notice that we're using the power to help Israel, and Americans are sick of it.
Well, they are Americans. These are Americans. Are you dismissing them? Are you dismissing Jewish people as Americans?
So they're saying we need to shut that conversation down. We need to cancel Tucker. We need to blacklist Nick. We need to censor the internet. We need anti-Semitism laws.
Pushing back against your nonsense is not censorship. It's just pushing back. Look at this, guys. This is the woke right using the victimhood card exactly like the woke left. How are you being censored? The more Jew hatred you show, the louder your voice gets, the more popular you become. You and Tucker are some of the loudest people with your two people with some of the largest audience in the whole world. How are you being censored? When did the definition of censorship become we say things and other people respond. Other people responding to our bullshit is now censorship. Crimea River. This is, look at it. They're acting exactly like the woke left. Just acting like they're the victim.
They're saying we need to shut that conversation down. We need to cancel Tucker. We need to blacklist Nick. We need to censor the internet. We need anti-Semitism laws. We need gatekeeping. Like, this is explicitly the message. And anyway, I did a whole show about this last week. If you watch the videos, that's exactly what they're saying. And we finally actually got the live footage from one of them at the Tikva Leadership Summit last week. I covered it on the show, but we only had the transcript, or we had a summary of events from a reporter, but we didn't actually have the video. We finally got the video from a panel with Ben Shapiro and Barry Weiss. And oh my gosh, it's just like beyond parody. And so for those that don't know, recently, Larry Ellison became the second richest man in the world. Who is Larry Ellison? Good question. So he is now worth north of $300 billion. He's the founder of Oracle. It's a software company. They handle data hosting. And I don't even really know what that means. I'm not a tech guy. So if you don't know, that's fine. But it's a back-end service. So they're a provider. They provide data hosting services for all the major websites. It's called Oracle. And
also for AI.
Get contracts from the government, and they have partnerships with all the major tech companies. It's one of the most valuable tech companies in the world. And Larry Ellison is its founder and its owner and the head of the company.
And he's Jewish?
And that's where he derives his fortune. Larry,
are you going to mention that, or is that just given?
Ellison is Jewish.
Oh my God. I was wondering why he's not mentioned. I was wondering when did you guys see that? Right after I said, like, when are you going to mention that he's Jewish? Because obviously you care about the fact that he's Jewish. Exactly when I was thinking, when is he going to say that? He said it.
And Larry Ellison is,
guys, I've become a Fuentes whisperer. I become bingo, exactly. Yeah, wow. Yep, yeah. I've been watching this guy for too much.
Its founder and its owner and the head of the company.
Yeah.
And that's where he derives his fortune. Larry Ellison is Jewish. Larry Ellison is an atheist, but he feels very strongly about being.
Ooh, I like him now. Ooh, he's a Jew and he's an atheist. One of those secular Jews. I'm a big fan now. Thank you. That's great. Love that. Guys, this is also, I know some of you religious Jews in the chat don't like me to say this, but one thing I like about Israel is the live and also the Jewish people as a whole. One thing I like about them is how secular they are and how common atheism is among some of them, right? So I like that.
And that's where he derives his fortune. Larry Ellison is Jewish. Larry Ellison is an atheist, but he feels very strongly about being Jewish, so strongly that he is a huge supporter of Israel.
Well, that makes sense. Honestly, let me tell you something. If you are Jewish and not a supporter of Israel, then you're not very smart. I know Jews on average are smarter than other people. Their IQ, the average IQ of Jews is higher than the rest of the world. But if you are a Jew and you don't support Israel, you're not one of the smart ones.
How much does he support Israel? Well, he's the #1 private benefactor of the Israeli Defense Forces. He has made private donations to the Israeli military to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. How much does he support Israel? He's personal friends with Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's good. Oh my God. Who's this guy? I love him.
And when Benjamin Netanyahu was indicted by his own government, Larry Ellison helped get Netanyahu a lawyer to defend himself. How did Ellison get Netanyahu a lawyer? Well, Larry Ellison went down to Hollywood and he went to the famous Jewish pro-Israel movie producer, Armin Milchan, and asked him to drop his Israelite Jewish lawyer, his Israeli Jewish lawyer, so that Netanyahu.
Oh, I've seen this guy. I know. Okay, so when I see someone's picture, it's easier for me to realize who they are. Okay, so this is him. Okay, so this is Larry Ellison. Okay, good to know.
Yahoo could hire him. Okay, so the second richest man in the world, an American billionaire running one of the most important tech companies, went to one of the richest and most famous and powerful Jewish movie producers and said, "Hey, Armin, can you dismiss your lawyer? Netanyahu is in trouble."
You know what, guys? As much as rich as these people are, these are individual wealth. Like, these are wealth of individuals, and these numbers look very big, but these numbers are nothing compared to state wealth. Okay, so we're like, oh my god, Jews are very powerful because rich people are supporting this and this and that. Okay, the amount of money that we're talking here is very small compared to Saudi wealth, because Saudi wealth, or like UAE wealth, or Qatar wealth, because Saudi, Qatar, and UAE, the wealth that they have to spend on influencing American politics, those are not individual people's money spending on politics and the things that they support. Those are states' money. That's oil and gas money of not an individual, but an entire freaking country. Right? So the level of influence that he's talking about on American politics is very insignificant to the influence of, right now, unfortunately, the influence of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. And if he was not such a Jew hater, he would be talking about that more, and he would be concerned about that more than the influence of these Jewish Americans, which actually you should welcome, because Israel's values and goals is more in line with America than Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. One. And also, rich people making money, they make money and become wealthy by producing wealth, by generating things that causes wealth and prosperity for a society. So when they spend money on politics, they generally move politics in the direction that wealth generation continues. So that's actually good for society. For their influence on politics is usually positive, because they want the wealth generation continue, and that basically raises, the speed in which the economy grows. Versus Saudi money, for example, which is oil money, which is not because they had the right methods or the right skills or the right values that brought them all that wealth. It was just basically oil in the goddamn ground. It would just happen to be on top of a lot of oil in the ground. So their methods and their values and their way of thinking is not going to make the world a better place, because they are wealthy just because they were lucky because there was oil under their feet. So their influence doesn't make the world a better place. The people who have made the world a better place by providing goods and services that the world needed, when they influence politics, they are going to be more likely to continue the increase in wealth and prosperity for the rest of us, unlike Saudi influence. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know in the chat.
So he gets famous and powerful Jewish movie producers and said, "Hey, Armin, can you dismiss your lawyer? Netanyahu is in trouble." So he gets Milchan to drop his lawyer so that Netanyahu could hire him to defend him from corruption charges. Netanyahu has vacationed on Larry Ellison's private island that he owns in Hawaii with his family.
Why is he talking about like that, like private island that he owns in Hawaii with his family? Why are it like, look at this, like, are you anti-wealth? Like, are you a commie? No wonder he likes Stalin. Are you anti-rich people? Like, look at this, is the horseshoe theory. Exhibit A for the horseshoe theory. He sounds like the far left. Like he doesn't like it when people have a lot of money. I mean, you have a lot of money, Nick. He doesn't like it when people could afford private islands.
And said, "Hey, Armin, can you dismiss your lawyer? Netanyahu is in trouble." So he gets Milchan to drop his lawyer so that Netanyahu could hire him to defend him from corruption charges. Netanyahu has vacationed on Larry Ellison's private island that he owns in Hawaii with his.
He owns in Hawaii. Oh my God, what a gut you. A rich person owns a private island? You don't say. What an evil man. He owns a private island.
Family. This is Larry Ellison. Now, after October 7th, the U.S. Congress banned TikTok because there was too much criticism of Israel on TikTok. How do we?
It wasn't too much criticism of Israel that was the problem. It was the Jew hatred. TikTok was filled with Jew hatred. I mean, it still is. And in fact, it's now everywhere. It wasn't the criticism of Israel. It was the Jew hatred. I mean, come on, guys. You've been on social media. Have you guys noticed how much more Jew hatred we're experiencing on social media everywhere, like in the comment sections? Have you I mean, look at the live chat right here.
We know this because the ADL told us that the more time that people spend on TikTok, the more anti-Semitic they become. So the North American Jewish Federation started lobbying Congress to ban TikTok. And major pro-Israel.
I mean, it's not that. TikTok was basically a Chinese government weapon in causing, their soft power basically in the United States and all around the world, and causing division. TikTok was basically being weaponized by the CCP to cause division among Americans. They were weaponizing it. So that's the reason why Americans were concerned with TikTok.
Republicans like Nikki Haley led the charge on this. She said we have to ban TikTok because it's anti-Semitic. So they did. Another Jewish donor, Jeffrey Yass, donated millions of dollars to Trump because he wanted Trump to buy TikTok on behalf of the United States. As you know, recently Trump completed that deal as part of a wider trade deal with China, and the United States purchased TikTok from its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, and the U.S. consortium that bought it was Larry Ellison's company.
That's good. Hopefully that we could change the algorithm so that we could change the American version of TikTok so the algorithm rewards more pro-Israeli content and punishes anti-Israeli content. I would be in favor of that. If you could tweak TikTok's, American TikTok's algorithm, that more pro-Israeli content, the pro-Israeli content gets the upper hand, I think that would be a plus. I hope he does that.
Oracle.
I mean, everybody else is doing it. I mean, Russia and China are weaponizing social media for what's in the best interest of China and Russia. So United States, given that social media, the biggest social media comes from America, why wouldn't Americans do that? They should be doing that. And supporting Israel is one of the best way to support America is to support Israel. So yeah.
Larry Ellison will direct the board that is running TikTok, and his Oracle will host America's TikTok data. So go figure. The Jewish lobby bans TikTok. The Jewish lobby gets Trump to buy TikTok. The Jewish lobby now owns TikTok. And what do you think they're going to do with it?
Is the Jewish lobby or just a Jew? How is that man the Jewish lobby? What was his name again? I'm bad with names. Larry Ellison? Yeah, Larry Ellison. He's not the Jewish lobby. He's just a Jew. The Jewish lobby owns TikTok. He's a Jew. He's not a lobby. He's just a Jew that loves Israel.
They're going to ban anti-Semitism. What else does Larry Ellison do? Well, his son David Ellison has a production company called Skydance. Larry Ellison underwrites the acquisition of Paramount by Skydance. So his son now owns Paramount, the Hollywood media conglomerate, which
Good. I hope he uses, I hope we see news and movies in defense of Israel. We need all the help we could get. Guys, like, let me actually tell you something. One thing, the Jews are very good at so many things, but not at this. They're not good at propaganda. They're not good at telling a story to the rest of the world. They're not good at defending Jews when it comes to soft power. They're good at defending Jews when it comes to, military action and intelligence, but not when it comes to propaganda. They're behind. Like, Jews are good at science, at technology, at banking, at so many things, but not good at propaganda. They really need to get better at that. And I hope the more rich Jews buy media, social media, news media, movies, and I hope we see very powerful content that we could prepare the next generation to be more Jew friendly and more Israeli friendly, because they have been behind on this. You have been really behind. Unlike what the Jew haters say, that, oh my God, the Jews control the media. They actually don't. The Jew haters seem to be controlling the media. So I think the Jewish community needs to get to working. They need to be better at social media and traditional media. They really need to. They're slacking.
Includes CBS, one of the major broadcasting networks. As part of the deal, they're going to get Barry Weiss to run CBS. CBS will buy her website, The Free Press, for $150.
Yeah, somebody in the chat saying you guys lost the media war. I actually agree with that. That the pro-Israel side has lost the media war, but they won almost every other war. I mean, they won the war. Okay, I mean, Israel has basically decapitated most of its enemies in the Middle East. So it's true that Israel has lost the media war, but they have won the real war, the military war, which is more important. I'm pretty sure if they work with each other and put their mind to it, they could also start winning the media war as well. But yeah.
$50 million, and she will now be the editor-in-chief of CBS. Barry Weiss, of course, is an Israeli spy. She went to Columbia University, where she tried to get pro-Palestine professors fired as part of the David Project, a Jewish group. Then when she finished college, she studied under Yoram Hazony in Israel at the Shalem Center. Then she came back to the United States and was mentored by Bret Stephens, the Jewish columnist at the New York Times, where she was an editorialist over there. Then she got money to do the Free Press. Now she's at CBS. And the new editorial line there is, we're not going to tolerate the progressive left that's anti-Israel and the radical right that's anti-Israel. Okay? This is what is going on. This is who Barry Weiss is. This is what she's a part of.
Yeah, and what's the problem with that? She's saying we're not going to be tolerating racism. They shouldn't be tolerating racism. I don't know who these people are, but you're making me fans of them. I'm gonna have to make them look her up and see who she is. That sounds like good policy.
Left that's anti-Israel and the radical right that's anti-Israel. Okay? This is what is going on. This is who Barry Weiss is. This is what she's a part of. Now, Barry Weiss goes to the Tikva Fund, and Tikva is funded by a number of Jewish billionaires. They come up with grants for young Jewish students and Jewish lawyers. The Tikva Fund has given money to the B'nai B'rith, to the ADL. They've given money to a lot of these types. J.D. Vance's Jewish chief of staff was a Tikva Fund fellow, as are many of them in Conservative Inc. So she's there with Ben Shapiro at the panel talking about the crisis of anti-Semitism. And she says, what we need are gatekeepers. We need censorship. She says, how do we get people to stop listening to Hassan Piker, Andrew Tate, Tucker, and Nick Fuentes?
I mean, I like that. I love how he's putting himself in the same group as the far left, because we have been telling you guys on this channel for years that these people are basically the same in so many different ways. And they used to say that we're being conspiratorial and we are wrong. And it's really interesting how both Nick is now defending the far left in a lot of his shows, and he's saying that, oh, we have so much in common. And actually now the left is also here. Let me actually show you this. The left is also returning the favor. Let me actually show you this one. Look how Zink,
For the name, Nick Fuentes.
watch this. Zink, look at because remember I showed you a video of Nick Fuentes earlier that he said that we have to work with the left, meaning the far left, because they're also properly anti-Israel. So this is now the far left returning the favor. Watch this one.
So now we're left with two guys that are left: Tucker Carlson, and yeah, I'm going to say the word or the name, Nick Fuentes. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's I have stopped censoring that Nick Fuentes mentioned since he's getting fucking profiled by the New York Times. You know.
Yeah. So Tucker Carlson, I think, has a shot at actually meaning it. And so I'm not sure that I agree with you.
You and I have had a private conversation about this many years ago, and I think I've been vindicated on this.
I think I've been vindicated on it, but we can have that conversation in a minute. So to now you go to, we'll come back to Tucker. You go to Fuentes. And so he seemed to be a classic guy who's, to be fair to him, not hiding his nationalism, right? So he was like, I'm going nationalist. I'm going Christian nationalist, white nationalist. It appeared to me, right? That was my original read of him. But now he's also changing. And so now I know we all cancel him to bejesus. And
I mean,
okay, Barry Weiss, if you're watching, which you obviously are,
Holocaust denier.
Right. So no problem. You deny the Holocaust. You say all these things.
Nope.
He's against
No problem. Okay.
race mixing.
Look, the chat is turning against them.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm married to an Asian woman. What am I going to agree with that? Right. So obviously we're against all that. But even now he has realized that's not actually where his audience is. He's so whether it's Craven,
I think he's a grifter. I think these guys are all grifters.
right, whether it's Craven or not, whether they're grifters or not, even Fuentes is now saying, he said it just like 2 days ago, you know what? Maybe we put aside the racism and the cruelty and the abuse, right? Which is an amazing admission, by the way.
Guys, Cenk is basically he's basically leaning into his anti-Israeli position. So these people are not about left or right anymore. They're more about anti-Israel or pro-Israel. So he wants to unite with the far right, and he's trying to ease into, basically whitewashing them.
That kind of is the direction they were going, right? And he says maybe we put that aside.
I just don't
to be able to unite with the left.
I don't
so
believe
I'm not
anything
saying
yet.
yes to Fuentes. I'm just saying look at the tide moving. The tide is moving towards populism because it's being driven by the audience. The audience wants real populism. So when they says bullshit,
You know what Hassan is doing? Hassan is looking at his chat and he's seeing how much people are hating what Cenk is saying. So he's like, oh, because the chat is like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's a Nazi. What the hell? Like, what the hell? Like, this guy's saying, excuse me. And then,
they don't want it and they're pushing in a better direction. So why is Tucker, now let's go to the heart of it, Tucker, right? Why is Tucker to me today different than he was on Fox News? Because on Fox News, he worked for corporate media.
Anyways, I don't want to play this one. I'm going to also show you how Nick Fuentes also is showing signs that he wants to cooperate with the far left. So watch this.
If you had progressive Democrats and nationalist Republicans working together, let's say to compel the release of the Epstein files, what kind of approval rating do you think that has? 90%? And what if they got together and they opposed foreign aid to Israel? What approval rating do you think that would have? 90%? What if they got together and worked on the basis of a common interest? Do you think that that Republicans or independents running under that brand, do you think that that would become more popular or less popular over time? 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16. It snowballs. And we need to propel someone into the White House that is just a populist. And here's where we're going to have to give. This is going to be the compromise. Very simple. The left has to give up immigration. That's simple. The left is going to have to give up. Look, we can have.
So it's interesting. He says he sees eye to eye with the far left. As long as they give up immigration, he says we could work with each other because they see eye to eye on so many things. They're anti-wealth, they're anti-Jew, they're anti-Israel, they're isolationists. So the only thing that he cannot accept from the left is the immigration. But here's the thing: the left cannot give up on immigration because mass immigration is their biggest weapon to change the demographic in their favor, to vote in their favor. I mean, here's the thing, Nick. You might need the left. The far left doesn't need you because you guys don't produce much babies, and neither are they. But they have immigration. So why would the far left give up their most powerful weapon? They can steal elections by just allowing more people in, promising them free shit, which basically means stealing from the rich and giving it to them in exchange for votes. And that is their most powerful weapon. So why would they give the people that they could bring that votes with them is so much higher than the number of people you are, because you guys are not having any kids. So why would they give up immigration?
Simple. The left is going to have to give up. Look, we can have equity and we can have equality in the country. We can have civil rights. We can have all those things, but we have to close the damn borders. We have to close it. Too many illegal immigrants.
That couldn't happen.
Too many legal immigrants. That has to be the compromise. The left has to give on immigration, and the right has to give on the free market. If the right can come down on healthcare and on a social safety net and maybe on some subsidies for education, and if the left can come down on the...
I like it. There's so many people trying to insult me in the chat. Like, for example, this guy saying, American Iranian Pahlavi pig. This guy is calling me. But I like it when somebody wants to insult me and just says Jew. The fact that they insult me like, oh, you're Jew. Oh my God.
Anti-white open border stuff, and they can agree that we have a country, that party will win 90% of the vote and rule for a century. That's the compromise. That's the populist compromise. Why is it that for the left, it's like they don't even care about anything else. It just has to be open borders. And on the right, it's like they don't care about anything else as long as it's foreign aid to Israel and war in the Middle East and war with Russia. That's the kind of program that we need. And that's what they're terrified of. They're terrified that the left and the right are going to come together on the basis of stop supporting Israel, on the basis of close the borders, on the basis of restricting money in politics and the influence of the oligarchs. That's what they're terrified of.
You know, guys, the far right by itself is not as scary these days as the far left and the Islamists, okay? But the reason why they're important is because even though they're not going to be as powerful as the far left when it comes to destroying Western nations, they are the best ammunition for the far left to grow, right? So even if they become, again, because when it comes to demographics, they don't have the numbers, but even when they become disinfluential with the small numbers that they have, it's just a really powerful way for the far left to just grow even bigger than they are as a reaction, you know? But yeah.
She says, well, we're never going to go back to Walter Cronkite, where 30 million people are watching the same TV show, and it's centralized, it's gate-kept, it's modern.
Somebody's saying, no, never mind. I'm not going to highlight that.
She said, we have to find centrist conservatives and centrist liberals. She says, and we need to curate who is allowed to participate in the discourse. That means gatekeeping. That means the Jews are going to decide who gets to talk, who gets to participate in the debate. And
it's not the Jews, you fucking idiot. Okay, people with wealth have always had more influence over the narrative, the media, the books that were being printed, the stories that were. That's what you get when you are successful. It has been like that since ancient times, okay? And I know you don't like to hear this, but Jews are, on average, are just better at wealth generation. So it's not because they're Jews, it's just because they're good at what they do. Okay, it's the skills that they have, the knowledge that they have, and the amount of ambition that they have. And who you could blame for the fact that Jews are on average are smarter and more talented, more knowledgeable, more ambitious and more hardworking. You know who you could, if you hate that, I have to tell you that's because of you guys. The reason why they ended up being like that is because the world hated them so much that they had to acquire these skills just to be able to survive. That's why they're so good at things. You made them this good at things. It was a matter of survival. And that's why they're rich. And being rich comes with privileges.
What the topics will be. She says, we're not going back to Walter Cronkite, but we can curate the discourse. We can choose who's going to debate. She says, so we should find.
I mean, like, guys, yeah, somebody's saying victim mentality. Like, isn't it like you guys just lost? You're crying about it, like, oh my God, the Jews are so powerful. Well, maybe because they worked for all that power and all that wealth. Why are you crying about? Maybe you should work as hard. Maybe you should try like them. Maybe instead of crying about it, maybe you could also, I mean, not you, but the people you represent. I mean, he is successful, but he represents a whole bunch of lonely incel losers. He's their spokesperson, right? Who are angry for why the world is so unfair to them. Maybe instead of crying about it, go make something of yourself. This is victimhood mentality. Like, oh my God, the Jews are, it's basically like the woke left. The woke left, like, oh my God, the white man is oppressing us. That's why I can't get laid. That's why I'm so poor. It's basically the same narrative, but just for Jews. The Jews stole my girlfriend that I never had.
Charismatic centrist liberals and centrist conservatives and have them debate. She says to Ben Shapiro, she goes, yeah, I was just in Chicago last week, and we had this debate between Alan Dershowitz and Dana Lash about gun control. She goes, two really charismatic centrists from the left and right. Alan Dershowitz and Dana Lash. For those that don't know, Alan Dershowitz was Jeffrey Epstein's Jewish lawyer who is 86 years old. And Dana Lash, I think she's in her 50s. She was the former head of the NRA. You might have seen her recently because she is the one that interrogated Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, after he defended Tucker Carlson for interviewing me. Dana
I mean, but she's not Jewish, so what's your problem?
Lash led the Inquisition on her show that gets no views.
Cannot be that bad.
That's going to be the discourse. Jeffrey Epstein's Jewish lawyer and Israel's number one defender, the head of the NRA, Dana Lash, debating about gun control. That's going to be the discussion. That's going to be the new discourse. Got it?
What is the problem with that? It's just the Jewish connection.
Let's not talk about Gaza. Let's not talk about Epstein.
Why do you want to talk about Gaza? Like, why are you obsessed with Gaza? Like, what is it about Gaza? Like, let's not talk about Gaza. Weren't you America first? Why are you so obsessed with Gaza?
Let's not talk about the Pollard affair and how Mike Huckabee sat with him. Let's not talk about the pedophile from the Israeli government that fled our own attorney general from Vegas. Let's not talk about the war.
It had nothing to do with that man being a pedophile. It's a general rule in Israel that you could come to Israel and be a citizen if you're a Jew. That was a general rule.
Iran. Let's not talk about Mike Waltz.
Yeah, let's talk about Iran. I mean, I listened to you talk about Iran. You were pretty ignorant about Iran.
The pedophile from the Israeli government that fled our own attorney general from Vegas. Let's not talk about the war in Iran. Let's not talk about Mike Waltz being controlled by Netanyahu. Let's not talk about Marjorie Greene being...
Mike Waltz being controlled by Netanyahu. Basically, talking with each other means that you're controlled by them. Just talking to American politicians, talking to the Israeli prime minister means they're being controlled by him. It's amazing. This is like the audacity. America constantly telling Israel what to do and what not to do, and making their support conditional on so many different things, and pressuring Israel to stop doing something if the United States doesn't like it. And the more you look at it, Israel doesn't control America. America unjustifiably controls Israel. Unjustifiably in so many cases. Even though Israel has done so much for America, instead of United States thanking Israel and giving it unconditional support, it just ties Israel's hands by limiting what they could do. So it's United States that is controlling Israel, not the other way around.
General from Vegas. Let's not talk about the war in Iran. Let's not talk.
I mean, exactly, the war in Iran. Like during the 12-day war, Israel wanted to continue the 12-day war. Who stopped Israel? Somebody in the chat saying example. Here's your example, the 12-day war in Iran. Israel was this close to removing it. It successfully removed all the IRGC, all the main IRGC commanders. More than 30 of the top military leadership of the Islamic Republic were taken out in a matter of hours. It took out the missile launchers, their air defense system. So it was one of the most successful wars in the history of warfare. And it was now then moving to removing the main politicians and if you allowed them to finish the job, the Islamic Republic might have been gone by now. Who stopped him? It was Trump that got in the way and forced Israel to stop the war. So there's your example. Sounds like to me like United States is controlling Israel, not the other way around.
Talk about the pedophile from the Israeli government that fled our own attorney general.
Did somebody just say, oh my God, this person is saying wrong in the chat and you can't even spell wrong? Are you trying? Oh my God. Well, your wrong is wrong.
From Vegas. Let's not talk about the war in Iran. Let's not talk about Mike Waltz being controlled by Netanyahu. Let's not talk about Marjorie Greene being forced out of Congress by death threats for exposing the Epstein.
What death threats? She's also playing the victim. Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, oh, if you criticize me, that will give me death threats. So don't criticize me. Look at this guy. This is the woke. This is why we call them woke. This is the woke right. It's not just their values and their beliefs that is like the woke left. I mean, they're identitarian, they're isolationist, they're anti-Jewish, they're anti-wealth, they're conspiratorial, but they also keep playing the victimhood card. What death threats? Oh my God.
Yeah, let's not talk about any of that. Let's not talk about the 20-year MOU or anything concerning all of that, which is fanatical, radical. According to Tucker Carlson, my new best friend, that's anti-Semitism. According to Tucker Carlson, that's Jew hatred. Everything.
This is very clever. So he went on Tucker Carlson and they were friendly, okay? But Tucker Carlson is not as brave as Nick when it comes to him displaying his Jew hatred. So Nick went to Tucker Carlson and got introduced to a whole new, larger audience that have never been on Rumble. And Tucker Carlson just basically gave Nick a whole new audience that never heard of him before. But now that that's over, he comes out and he shows to these people that, the things that Tucker is saying, but not really saying, but you know what he means. Well, he's not a proper anti-Semite. Okay. He doesn't hate the Jews enough. He's a Jew lover. Like, listen to his own words. So you've been following Tucker because you desperately need anti-Jewish content, and he sometimes like he teases you with it, but he doesn't really give it to you. Well, I'll give it to you. I give it to you fully and completely. So listen to Tucker's own words. He's like, oh, I'm against Israel, not against Jews. Well, you know who's against Jews? Me. This guy. Then don't so he's basically competing. Like he sometimes acts like he's friend with Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and stuff, but he backstabs them because he wants to be the king of Jew haters in America, right? So Tucker Carlson, no, fuck him. He doesn't properly hate Jews. I properly hate Jews. That's his message. Get this.
Radical. According to Tucker Carlson, my new best friend, that's anti-Semitism. According to Tucker Carlson, that's Jew hatred. Everything that I just said up until this point, Tucker characterizes that as Jew hatred.
God, look at that. That's genius, because he does do that to hide his Tucker does do that to hide his anti-Semitism, but Nick is now using the fact that he's not as open as Nick as a tool against them, to basically say that, you know, I don't have to like, look, he says that I'm not anti-Jewish. He says that he's this and that is anti-Semitism. So, you know, fuck him. I'm join my ideas.
He says, Nick is 100% right that Israel influences Congress. He said, but I don't agree with the Jew hate. Well, you know, Tucker, my friend, it's a little bit bigger than Israel influencing Congress. There's a little more to the story, and it doesn't make me a Jew hater for saying that. Anyway,
it's interesting because he's saying it's bigger than Israel. It's Jewry, and he says it doesn't make me a Jew hater. Okay, that's what he says. He says like the problem is not Israel. The problem is just Jewry. Okay. That's what he says.
Want us to talk about everything other than that. Gun control, healthcare, even immigration. They'll even allow you to talk about immigration. They'll even let you talk about cultural differences between Somalis and Americans.
So, guys, if you don't know Nick, his problem is mostly Jews. Like, his problem is not the Somalis. I mean, he talks bad about them when he needs to, but he himself admits that he has no problem. He doesn't care much about the Muslim threat, Somali, you know, anti-black, any ethnic group. Those are such a mild issue compared to the Jewry threat. That's what he says. So he says like he thinks that the people that are on his side, they are fed, you know, fear of Muslims and Arabs and Somalis and black people just to satisfy them, to distract them from the real threat, which is the Jews. That's his opinions. Again, YouTube, that's not my opinion, okay? I'm just expressing this person's opinion.
Did you see that? Matt Walsh went on a little tear today. It was so cute. Daring today, aren't we? Go get him. Matt Walsh did a little segment on his show where he said, you import the third world, you become the third world. Daring today, aren't we?
Look, that's interesting. So Matt Walsh, like these are people that we consider some of them to be, you know, a little bit closer to, you know, farther right. And he's basically trying to destroy all of them as not far right enough, basically.
We're 50 years. We're 50 years into the brownification of America, and finally someone has the balls to say we shouldn't import the third world? Bravo.
Brownification. I've never heard that before. The brownification?
On a show where he said, you import the third world, you become the third world. Daring today, aren't we? We're 50 years. We're 50 years into the brownification of America, and finally someone has the balls to say we shouldn't import the third world? Bravo. And Elon Musk retweeted it and said, wow, right on. So Elon just finished telling us that if we don't want infinite Indian immigrants, you know, we're racist and we need to fuck ourselves in the face.
Elon never said infinite Indian immigrants. He was just talking about their best of their best, the most talented ones. Come on. That is so unfair to Elon, isn't it? Elon wasn't talking about mass migration from India. He was talking about a very small number of people who are ahead of everyone else in India.
But Matt Walsh said Somalis have bad culture. Amazing, amazing, awesome. And this is where we are.
That topic was about the H-1B visas, which is, again, that visa needs to be reformed, but it still makes sense to have it. I mean, technically, you're robbing other countries from their geniuses, which is good for America and bad for them.
It could not be more clear. And by the way, let me tell you something else. Okay, it is so obvious what's going on here. So obvious. Mark Levin, Barry Weiss, Ben Shapiro, Randy Fine, Joel Berry, all these people, they are the biggest liars in America. That's all they do. They lie like they breathe.
It's interesting how he's attacking the right, but supporting the far left. Oh, by the way, we got a super chat. Sorry, I didn't see this. Ginga, thank you so much for the support. Are you still here? I hope he's still here. Sorry if I didn't see it earlier. I appreciate the support.
And they come on the air and they pretend to care about our religion and they pretend to care about our country and about our children and about our young men and our people. But we all know the only reason they are scrambling, panicking, one reason and one reason only, it's because people are waking up about our Jewish oligarchy. That's it. And we all know why. All of them are Jewish. All of them have a special affinity for Israel. And by all of them, I mean all these people that have spoken out in the past few weeks. When these Jewish people get together at the North American Jewish Federation, at the Republican Jewish Coalition, at the World Jewish Congress, at the Conference for Major American Jewish Organizations, and they get up on stage and right, left, and center, they get up and they decry the anti-Semites on the left and on the right, Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, Hassan Piker and Zohran Mamdani. The only reason they're saying these things is because they are here as a foreign entity to lobby and manipulate the American public to support their country and their well-being at our expense. That's it.
Wow.
These people are Jewish. That's why they care about Israel. And they are here to make sure that all of...
Reminder that Israel has done far, far more for America than America has done for Israel. So just remember that every time these idiots say that. America has given Israel some funds and some weapons. Israel has given America their blood and their lives to protect the Americans, Israelis, and the world from terrorists. Oh, wait, we got another super chat. Somebody saying, are you pro-Israel or pro-Zionist? A little sus. Well, I mean, I'm Zionist because I'm pro-Israel. I am a Zionist. I'm a proud Zionist. What's wrong with that? Why is that sus? How is that sus? Zionism is just the belief that Israel should exist and be able to defend itself. So I'm a proud Zionist. How is that sus? Guys, if you're a Zionist, write in the chat that you're a Zionist. These people think that we're ashamed and hiding our Zionism. Like, oh my God, he's a Zionist. Is he? He's hiding it. Like they think like we're hiding it. If you're a Zionist, write in the chat that you're a proud Zionist, so that these people see that we don't hide that. We're proud of it. No, thank you. Saying damn right, and we have your back, Armin. Well, thank you.
Of us Americans never stop supporting Israel. I'm here to tell Americans we don't have to listen to them. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't listen to them. Americans should tune out people that care about other countries. You care about Israel? We put...
Americans should tune out people who care about other countries. So Italian. So why is it only about Jews? So Italian Americans that care about Italy, Scottish American that care about their Scotland, they should be tuned out? Are they anti-American for caring? What about Japanese Americans who care about Japan? How is that an issue? Why is it like, guys, why is it that when people love America and another country, nobody gives a shit? But when Jews love America and Israel, all of a sudden that's evil? It's almost as if you're a fucking Jew hater. Huh? It's almost as if you're a Jew.
The volume to zero. We're not listening. I don't care what your take is on gun control. I don't care what your take is on healthcare.
Look, the only thing he cares about is Jews. No other policies matter.
You are a Jew that only cares about Israel. There's no we here. You, they.
No, they do. It's not that they only care about Israel. They care about Israel and America, as they should. As they should. Somebody saying dual loyalty. There's nothing wrong with dual loyalty. Dual loyalty is only a problem apparently when Jews do it. If you're a Japanese American, you could be loyal to Japan and America. Nobody should give a shit. None of your fucking business. You love Japan, go ahead and love Japan. You're Japan. How the fuck could you not love Japan? If you were born in Japan and now you became an American, what the fuck is wrong with you if you don't also love Japan? You were born in Japan. You were raised in Japan. You have a lot of history in Japan. Of course you love Japan. Go ahead. It's sus if you don't love Japan. Love Japan and love America. Loving America shouldn't be conditional on you not loving any other country. What the fuck is wrong with you? This is, by the way, guys, notice how it's obviously ridiculous when you mention any other country. It should be as ridiculous when you use Israel. Everybody gets it when it's how ridiculous it is if you say Japanese American and you're like, oh no, you shouldn't love Japan. You should only love America. Everybody could see how retarded that is. But all of a sudden with Israel, oh no, you shouldn't love Israel. You should only love America. People are like, oh yeah. You see how the double standard with Jews? So we got another super chat saying it's just sus that every ex-Muslim, especially every Iranian ex-Muslim, is pro-Zionist. I support you, but I've started to notice. First of all, every ex-Muslim is not a Zionist, pro-Zionist. In fact, we have leftist ex-Muslims who hate Israel, and there's a lot of infighting between ex-Muslims about that. So you're wrong about that. But there is. So Iranian ex-Muslims, we have communist Iranian ex-Muslims who also hate Israel with passion, leftist Iranian ex-Muslims who hate Israel. So it's not all of us, but many Iranians love Israel because we have a common. It is true that you're going to see more love for Israel among Iranians, and also not just ex-Muslim Iranians, but Iranians as a whole. Love for Israel is growing a lot among Iranians because we have a common enemy, which is the Islamic Republic. So the mutual interest that the people of Iran and the people of Israel have has brought them closer together. That's the reason.
Are not part of this conversation. This is a conversation between Americans about what America will do. America is a country of, by, and for the American people. A republic comprised of American citizens.
These are the people that you mentioned, Nick, were American citizens. They just happen to be Jewish as well. Why do you not consider Jewish Americans to be American citizens?
Americans are going to speak to other Americans about what is best for Americans. Americans are going to make their decision about who we are going to vote for the leader of America and what America will do with regard to Israel. We're not going to listen to pro-Israel Jews.
But you listen to everyone else, you fucking idiot. Every country that has a relationship with another country listens to people from that country to see how the relationship should develop. You know, the Chinese, the Russians, the Saudis, Canada, Germany, France, they all have their groups There are lobbies, there are special interest groups, there are people there in America that talk to Americans, American politicians, about the relationship between their country and America. And guess what? America has that also in other countries. That's how international relationships work, you fucking idiot. This is nothing special about, this is nothing unique about Israel. This is how every two country talk to each other. You fucking moron. We got another super chat. By the way, thank you guys for all the super chats. Asian American saying, there was a lot of anti-Catholic hate when Kennedy was elected, and people said he had secret loyalties to the Vatican. Yeah, exactly. I'm pro PRC, green energy, but not other stuff. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat.
That are here to tell us that we don't have a decision, that there's one decision, and that is to support Israel. How much are we going to support Israel? Are we going to give them all our money or most of our money? Are we going to fight all their wars or some of their wars? Are we going to fight in an offensive or defensive capacity? If you are here as a foreign propagandist, as a foreign lobbyist, as a foreign spy, if you have another allegiance, you are not in this conversation.
You are, because you're American. If you are a Japanese American, or let's say a Japanese Canadian, and you care about Japan, and you care about the relationship Canada and Japan have with each other, as a Canadian, for example, you have the right to talk to your politicians about the importance of the relationship between Japan and Canada as a citizen of Canada. In the same way, if you are a Jew and an American, and you care about the relationship between Israel and America, it is your right as an American to tell your politician that as a voting citizen, what you care about. And shocking, you could even spend money on getting your voice heard more if you have that to spend. Shocking, I know. That's how it works. Yeah, well, it's how it works with every other country.
We're telling Barry Weiss and Ben Shapiro, butt out. You are not invited. You are not.
Wait, isn't that what you categorize as gatekeeping, Nick Fuentes? Weren't you earlier during your own video talking about how this is gatekeeping and therefore censorship, and the Jews are censoring you, and how you're anti-censorial? Aren't you doing the same thing? Aren't you saying, like, if you care about other countries, you're not invited, you're not part of the conversation, we're going to get rid of you? How is that not gatekeeping and therefore by your own standards censorial? Double standard much? So Intel is saying, so you believe America should invade Iran on behalf of Israel? Nope, I never said that. I think America should support Israel, and if Israel sees fit to attack, not invade, attack the Islamic Republic. So invade suggests boots on the ground. We're not talking boots on the ground. So America just needs to not get in the way of Israel. Israel has decided on its own that it's within its best interest to do regime change in Iran with the help of the Iranian people, right? And the Iranian people welcome that. So America does not need to invade Iran. America could just continue selling weapons to Israel and not making cooperation with Israel conditional on Israel stopping its war against the Islamic Republic like they did last time. Americans don't need to get involved in the war. They could just continue supporting Israel. Thank you for the super chat.
One of us. You are one of them. Ben Shapiro, you have an Israeli wife. And
yeah, it's interesting because they say, like, Israel should stop meddling in America. How about America stop meddling in Israel when Israel decides that it can and should remove its greatest threat, which is the Islamic Republic? How about America stop meddling in Israel and just allow them to finish the job next time? How about that?
Israeli kids, butt out. You are not invited. You are not one of us. You are one of them. Ben Shapiro, you have an Israeli wife and Israeli kids. You live in an all-Jewish neighborhood. You've been to Israel more times than I can count on two hands. You are not American. You are not one of us. Barry Weiss, you finished college and got trained in Israel to advocate for Israel. You're a foreign spy. You should be deported. You speak to an audience of Jews.
Wait, he should be. Aren't we talking about Israeli American citizens here?
Kids, you live in an all-Jewish neighborhood. You've been to Israel more times than I can count on two hands. You are not American. You are not one of us. Barry Weiss, you finished.
How are they not American? These are American citizens. They're not American because they travel a lot to Israel? What the fuck? They are not Americans because they were educated in Israel and travel a lot to Israel. They're not Americans anymore. I think they're more American than you, Nick. Again, does this work with other countries? If a Japanese American travels a lot to Japan and has been educated in Japan, are they all of a sudden not American anymore?
College and got trained in Israel to advocate for Israel. You're a foreign spy. You should be deported. You speak to an audience of Jews about what is best for Jews.
Yeah, and how is that not American? Everybody does that with their community in America. Everybody else does that with their community in America.
You talk to Jews about using the position and resources of other Jews to advance the interests of Jews at the expense of everybody else without.
Yeah, the Mormons do that. The Catholics do that. The evangelicals do that. The Italians do that. The Germans do that. The Indians do that. Everybody does. Every group does that. Every freaking group does that.
Regard for what's best for Americans, America as a whole, Americans that are not loyal to Israel, Americans that are not Jewish. So you are one of them. We are going to ignore you.
Okay, this is gatekeeping, and by your own standard, censorial. I mean, does he not hear himself? Right here at the beginning of this video, he was calling out gatekeeping, and now he's gatekeeping. Hold on. Let me see. We got another super chat. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Intel is saying, bro, are ex-Muslims, Iranians the only people that are happy for another nation to invade or attack their home country? I've never heard this before. Okay, you misunderstand. How is that invading their country or attacking their country? That's not a very smart question. When Americans went to France to attack the Nazis, to liberate France, were they attacking France? When Israel attacks the Islamic Republic, they're not attacking Iran. They're attacking the occupiers of Iran. Iran has been occupied by the Islamic Republic. When you hit the Islamic Republic, you're not hitting Iran. And when you say, I've never heard that before, well, I just told you an example. So I'm pretty sure you heard of this. I'm pretty sure you heard Americans going into France and attacking the Nazis. Did anybody describe that as attacking France? I'm pretty sure the French didn't see that as being attacked. So you have heard it. I reminded you of it. Gaging American saying, holy shit, he's okay with stripping citizenship. I hold myself back from defending PRC policies and I criticize commies to appear more American. Yeah, well, you shouldn't be defending PRC policies. Okay. Yeah, but he is talking about stripping citizenship, which is insane. Yeah. We got another super chat here saying, is it not hard to believe that many people are anti-war? U.S. actively assist on unaliving humans via the most inhumane way possible, surveillance AI. I don't know what exactly you're referring to, but if you're anti-war, you should be, if you want the United States to stay out of war, one of the best ways to do that is to support Israel, because Israel has killed so many of America's enemies without the U.S. having to get involved. If Israel was not in the Middle East, so many Americans would have to be there to stop the people who are intending to come and hurt Americans. It would have cost so many more American lives to do what Israel does if Israel was not there. So if you want to keep America out of war, the best thing you could do is support Israel. Thank you for the super chat.
Real Americans are going to turn to each other. And we are going to talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We're not going to listen to you or your puppets, your $7,000 shills. We're not going to listen to Officer Talmud, the dumbest man on the internet, Officer Tatum. We're not going to.
Officer Tatum is actually pretty good. I'm starting to like him more and more.
Them. We are going to ignore you. Real Americans are going to turn to each other. And we are going to talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. We're not going to listen to you or your puppets, your $7,000 shills. We're not going to listen to Officer Talmud, the dumbest man on the internet, Officer Tatum.
He calls Officer Tatum Officer Talmud.
We're not going to listen to people that work for Glenn Beck at the Blaze after he cried because they turned down his application for Israeli citizenship. We're not going to listen to people that work for Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire that want to beat their chest about America, but they work for the #1 pro-Israel traitor in the history of the United States, Ben Shapiro. We are not going to listen. I'll tell you something else. All of that is obvious. All of that has been obvious. We have a problem here.
Okay, wait. We got another super chat saying, wait, I'm confused. Is Iran occupied by another nation? Well, not a nation, but an ummah. Your French example is not good because it was occupied by Nazi Germany. Well, again, let me educate you. The Islamic Republic is the most anti-Iranian force ever. If you think Islamic Republic is Iranian, then you're ignorant about Iranian politics. The Islamic Republic was founded based on an anti-nationalist philosophy that is anti-nationhood as a whole, and it considers itself to be. Khomeini, for example, himself was anti-nationalist. If you look at the IRGC mission statement, it's about Islam and expanding Islam, and it has nothing to do with Iran. And Iran has been occupied by the IRGC, and they want to spend and use all of the resources of Iran for preparing the world for the coming of Mahdi. So it's an anti-nationalist force, which is against the nation of Iran. I mean, so the Islamic Republic is not Iranian. The Islamic Republic admits sometimes that it's anti-Iranian. And only sometimes it pretends that it's pro-Iranian when it's weak and it needs the support of the people. Then it sometimes uses nationalistic narratives. But as soon as it gets back power, it also cracks down on anything patriotic or nationalistic. So it's an anti-Iranian force. And so Iran has been occupied. And no, there has been, in the history of Iran, we have never had anything that was more anti-Iranian than the Islamic Republic. And my example was perfect because as the Nazis were anti-France, were a foreign entity, and Islam is also a foreign ideology to Iran. And the Islamic Republic, there's nothing Iranian about the Islamic Republic. So if you don't understand that, it's because you don't know much about Iranian politics. Asian American saying, I'm pro some PRC policies. I wonder if he's pro-Japanese internment camps. Iran is held hostage by their shit government that does not reflect the people. Exactly. All right. I mean, exactly to the second statement.
Have a problem. The enemy is within the gates. The call is coming from inside the house. The most powerful Americans, Larry Ellison, $300 billion net worth.
Oh, Americans. Oh, okay. So just let that repeat that. Americans
is within the gates. The call is coming from inside the house. The most powerful Americans, Larry Ellison, $300 billion net worth. Miriam Adelson, $50 billion net worth. Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor. Mike Huckabee, U.S. Ambassador to Israel. All these people are loyal to Israel. AIPAC, $100 million in Congress. The list goes on and on and on. These people are a bigger threat to the United States.
We got another super chat saying, I am 100% certain Fuentes has money trails that would trace to IRGC sympathizers. Fuentes gets paid by Iranian IRGC sympathizers. Well, I mean, he has super chats in his live shows, So I'm pretty sure I'm close. I mean, I'm never 100% sure about anything, but pretty close to at least some of them being IRGC sympathizers. I mean, technically, actually, you're not wrong, but because a lot of the far right, again, guys, when I say far right, I'm not talking about patriotic people who care about their country and their border integrity, and they're correctly anti-Islam and they're correctly anti-mass migration. That is not far right. Far right is this animal, is this, well, I shouldn't insult animals, is this guy you're looking at, right? But among the far right, I've noticed there's a lot of sympathies with IRGC and the Islamic Republic. So you might be right in a different way, actually. Yeah. So, and also Intel with another super check. When was Iran nationalistic? This was literally when the US put a puppet Shah government and created a nationalist Iran, right? No, you don't understand the history. The United States didn't put a puppet Shah. The Shah was there before the coup d'etat that you're referring to, and Muhammad Mossadegh was not elected by the people. He was selected by the Shah himself to be the prime minister. So America didn't put the Shah in place to be king in Iran. Muhammad Reza Shah was already Shah. Mossadegh did an attempted coup against the Shah, and Americans would have. So actually, I don't know how deep I should get into this. So the narrative is that the Americans helped the Shah regain power, and if you actually look at the evidence, the help was not that much. There were many Iranian people who actually turned against Mossadegh, and that's why the Shah managed to regain power. Let me know if you want me to do a show on this at some point. But the Shah didn't do a coup against Mossadegh. It was Mossadegh who did the coup against the Shah, because under the constitution at that time, it was within the legal right of the Shah to remove Mossadegh from power. So again, the narrative that you're telling me is something that Iranian leftists spread around the world, and you're buying into a propaganda that anti-Shah Iranian communists spread around the world, and you just believed it. If you actually go look at the facts, if you actually go read the constitution of Iran at that time, it was completely within the Shah's legal rights. The Shah was already there before any of this happened. And when Mossadegh tried to remove him from power, the Shah had every right, according to the country's laws and the constitution, to remove Mossadegh from power. And Mossadegh was resisting. And if the Americans helped the Shah regain power, the Americans did a good job if they did, but they didn't actually do much. So all of this is a lie. I should do a show on this because of how many people say this, repeat this lie. And then we got another super chat. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Oh my God, we got 10 super chats. And yeah, Iran was nationalist and more nationalistic, but thanks to both of the Pahlavi kings. Maga is saying Fuentes should be investigated for receiving IRGC bitcoins. He pushes pro-Venezuela, pro-Iran. Well, not pro-Iran, pro-Islamic Republic perspective. Fuentes is an Iranian agent. Okay, guys, being pro-Iran is a good thing. It's the Islamic. Don't mix the Islamic Republic with the Iranian people. And thank you for the super chat. The Iranian people are against their government. They're against the Islamic Republic. So pro-Iran means being anti-Islamic Republic. But yeah, we Iranians are very nitpicky about that.
States than the Muslims. They're a bigger threat than almost any other group because they have concentrated power. Concentrated power, concentrated money power, concentrated political power. How do we know this? They use it all the time. They use it to buy TikTok. They use it to get the president of Harvard fired. Why? Because the president of Harvard wasn't cracking down on dissent against Israel hard enough. They direct their power in a focused beam against Marjorie Taylor Greene, against Claudine Gay at Harvard, against all these different targets, against Elon Musk when he tolerates people criticizing Israel. This is why they're more pernicious. What's more, They come up with these lies that insinuate themselves into our history. They say Judeo-Christian. They say Western civilization, as though they're a part of that, as though they weren't opposed to it and against it for millennia. As though they're great thinkers like Maimonides didn't say that they should pray for the death of all Christians every day. As though their Talmud doesn't say our Savior.
Oh my God, we have so many Christians in history that have said so much far worse about the Jews. Like, are you going to just hold what some Jews said about Christians against all Jews? What the fuck? Oh, we got also 2 more super chats saying Fuentes is shown on IRGC state media. Let that sink in. Yeah, I saw that actually. So Nick Fuentes was shown on Iranian, the Islamic Republic's propaganda TV, broadcasted nationwide. So he has fans in the Islamic Republic. That is true. I saw that. And Intel just also saying, yes, please do a whole video on the recent Iranian political history. But now I'm confused. But I still believe Reza Pahlavi was a U.S. puppet. How was Reza Pahlavi a U.S. puppet when he was standing against the U.S. when they wanted to, when the United States was pressuring the Shah to lower prices? The Shah stood against the pressure. So the Shah was a U.S. ally, but he wasn't. He wouldn't allow being bullied by America. So he was an ally of United States. But when America wanted to pressure Iran to reduce oil prices, he didn't give in. He resisted, and he wanted the highest prices that he could get for the Iranian people. So how was he a puppet then? The reason why you think he was a puppet, it was because the Shah and United States were working with each other against the communist takeover of Iran by the Soviet Union. And the Iranian commies at that time were butthurt, and they called the Shah a puppet of the United States. And that narrative just, you know how leftists pretend that United States is now a puppet of Israel? So if you believe that, at that time, leftists in Iran were pretending that the Shah was a puppet of America, even though if you go listen to the policies of the Shah and his speeches, he was a friend of America, but he also wasn't allowing America to just push Iran around. So no, your understanding of Iranian history is just basically based on leftist propaganda. And then also Asian American saying, as an American, I have an inherent bias for removing kings regardless of legality. I totally watch a Mossaddeq's stream. Yeah, that's an American bias because they think kings just like means dictatorship, even though we have Sweden, we have Norway, we have the UK, we have Canada. These are democracies and they have constitutional monarchies. Yeah. Anyways.
As though they're great thinkers like Maimonides didn't say that they should pray for the death of all Christians every day. As though their Talmud doesn't say our Savior is burning in hell, doesn't instruct Jews to spit when they pass our cemeteries, says that they don't have to save our lives if we're in mortal danger.
Yeah, you're talking about some radical religious Jewish people, which every group of people have. Like, if you want to say that about some crazy, radical, ultra-religious Jews, then we have the same thing among Christians. Christians have a fair share of that. Everybody has a fair share of that. I mean, Muslims have more than their fair share of that, but every group has some. This is like so lazy. This is so lazy. This is called hasty generalization. Just go find a Jew that is anti-Christian and just say, "Oh, Jews hate Christians." Like, you know, isn't that an obvious logical fallacy? Like, isn't that like the most laziest way of coming up with a conclusion? It's absolutely retarded. This guy is not very smart. He just knows how to be charismatic and speak with a lot of energy, and that's apparently good enough to get a lot of fans. I mean, it's mostly because of the Jew hatred, right? Jew hatred is popular these days, so that's why he gets a lot of fans. Yeah, exactly. Flying Robot Duck is saying every religion and country has its share of a-holes. Exactly. Anyways, guys, I'm going to listen to this a little bit more because I want to see. Hold on.
That's the problem. We all know it.
Yeah, exactly. The cat lady is saying, should I quote popes? Okay, let me listen to this for another 5 minutes because he's just saying the same things over and over again. Hold on.
Here's what's happening now. The reason that
By the way, guys, after this is over, we're gonna go to our group and I'm gonna have a webinar there in our group about the meaning, about the concept of the Ummah and what it means in Islam. So we have a politics discussion group. I just posted a link in the chat, and also the link to it is in the description. So after the show, I'm gonna go into our discussion group, and I'm gonna do a webinar. And I wanted the people who joined our discussion group to become higher level understanding of these topics. So it's very important for you guys to understand how politics works in Islam. And one of the key things that you need to understand is the concept of Ummah and what it really means, because a lot of people just say it means the Islamic community, and it's more complicated than that. And the better you understand this concept, the better you would understand the threat of Islam in the West. So that's what my webinar is going to be about, and that webinar is going to be in about half an hour. So the link is in the description, and it's also one more time in the chat. So let's listen to Nick a little bit more.
am popular, actually. It's not because the economy is bad, actually. It's not because young men are disillusioned, whatever that means. It's not because young men don't have economic opportunities and you're going to go and tell them about the free market or whatever. Let me tell you why I began my generational run this year. It's because last year I was the only one that got up and said, don't vote for Trump. He's owned by the Jews. He'll bring us to war in Iran. I was the only one that said that. When
Well, he didn't bring you to war in Iran. He stopped the war. Unfortunately, he stopped the war. The war was going very well. It was reaching its objectives. He came in, he meddled, and because of his meddling, he used it as an excuse to stop the war from continuing and reaching its objectives.
Adelson made her deal with Trump to give him $100 million in exchange for bombing Iran and the West Bank. I said, that's a red flag. I said, that means Trump will sell us out. I said, don't vote for him. Candace Owens supported him. Tucker Carlson gave a speech at the Republican convention. They know better. Everybody supported him. I didn't. And when Trump bombed Iran, everybody tuned into my show because they said, this guy's been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, but you fucking idiots said that if he does do the bombing, we're going to be entering World War III. I mean, what happened? Not a single American was hurt. You just went and bombed the Islamic Republic's nuclear facilities and delayed their nuclear program for a couple of years, which is a good thing, I think. I think that's a good thing, you fucking idiots.
So this guy must know what he's talking about. That's what started the generational run.
No, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. You have no fucking idea how big of a mess the entire world is going to be in if the Islamic Republic goes fully nuclear. I mean, the only thing what you should have been criticized is why did we only bomb the nuclear facilities to the point where we delayed their nuclear program for another 2 years? Like, why are we not doing what Israel wants, which is regime change, which will end their nuclear program forever?
Tucker didn't put me on. Candace Owens didn't put me on. Bradley Martin didn't put me on. And as much as I appreciated those people having me on their platform, what put me on is that I'm fucking right.
Somebody in the chat saying, no, only Israel would be in trouble. Well, let me actually educate you on that. I grew up in Iran. Since childhood, they told us in school, in cartoons, in our books, that Israel is the little Satan and America is the big Satan. And we were told that to get to the big Satan, we have to destroy the little Satan first. The reason why the Islamic Republic wants to destroy Israel is because Israel is in the way. The Islamic Republic wants to destroy America, and Israel is in the way. This is why supporting Israel is supporting America, because you are who they really want to destroy. They brag about turning the White House into a Hosseiniya, which is a Shia ceremonial building at some point, raising the flags of Hussein in the White House at some point. That is their ultimate goal. So no, it's not just Israel's problem. It's everyone's problem. A nuclear Islamic Republic is everyone's problem. And Israel is paying most of the price to stop it. And the world should be grateful.
I'm right about Israel. I'm right about our Jewish oligarchy. I'm more right than anybody else. I'm more right than Tucker. I'm more right than this anti-Semite light thing, whatever that is. I'm more right than people like Tucker that say it has nothing to do with Jewish people. It's only about Israel's policies in Gaza. Yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie. And it's a lie from someone who has been in politics for 25 years, but only started criticizing Israel last year. Gee, I wonder why. I guess he had an epiphany. Amazing. Amazing. And now these people that were wrong for 25 years or lying, they now want to circumscribe the limit of acceptable debate on the subject. Hi, I'm Tucker Carlson. I supported the war in Iraq. I didn't say anything about Israel for 30 years, but I just figured it out last year. And now I want to say what's acceptable to talk about.
This really sells. He wants this entire movement to himself. He doesn't want to share it with Tucker. He doesn't want to share it with Candace. He doesn't want to share it with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He doesn't. And he's right. He is more consistent and bold and Jew hating than all of them combined. So he has that market cornered completely. It's his monopoly now. So we got another super chat saying, how did going to war in Iraq and Afghanistan for Israel benefited America? We got more immigrants and Muslims in the West because of the middling. First of all, Israel, okay, you really don't know your history. If you go look at the records, I know you guys have a video of Netanyahu saying that, removing Saddam is a good idea, is good for everybody. But first of all, Netanyahu was not the prime minister of Israel at that time. And if you look at what Israel's positions was at that point, Israel was asking America not to go to invade Iraq. Israel was against America invading Iraq. And the support for invading Iraq was, after 9/11, was something that American politicians were very much in favor of, with no help from Israel. The video that you see from Netanyahu is a video that came after Israel came to the conclusion that these Americans are going to invade Iraq no matter what, and it makes more sense for us to get on board with them rather than stand against them. And that Netanyahu video was basically from a time that Netanyahu was not even the prime minister. Right? So first that. Also, let me see. How did going to war for Israel benefited America? And also the war in Iraq, the reason why that didn't initially work out was not because the invasion went wrong, was because what came after the invasion went wrong. Because the de-Baathification of Iraq was the reason why you had this much chaos. Because Rumsfeld and others decided that after Saddam's fall, they need to remove anybody from the Ba'ath Party from power and not allow them into the next government of Iraq, which caused a lot of anger and such a power vacuum that was perfect for a lot of chaos and eventually the rise of ISIS. So the invasion process actually went pretty well. It was the political, so the American military did very well. It was the American politicians that screwed it up with what they did after. Yeah, or else the removal of Saddam was have been a net is a net benefit for the world. All of that cost is because of the power vacuum the politicians created after. And it's interesting how so many of you just keep, when you want to show how regime change is a bad idea, you only go to Iraq and Afghanistan, and you forget other examples, like regime change in Germany worked out very well for America and the rest of the world. Regime change in Japan by America worked out very well for Japan, America, and the rest of the world. I mean, Japan and America became two of the greatest economies in the world and major US allies after regime change in these two countries. Regime change in Panama worked out very well for both Panama and United States. Why is it that you guys only remember Iraq and Afghanistan and you don't remember other examples of regime change that went very well? Selective bias here. Anyways, I think Nick's words are becoming repetitive now. It's just Jews are the problem, yada yada yada. So we're not going to learn much more about this, and I need to go get ready for my webinar. Again, let me post a link to our discussion group, politics discussion group, for you guys to join. And over there, we have discussions, we have group calls, we have webinars. We talk about politics all the time. So the link is in the description. So consider joining. We got another super chat saying every regime change post World War II that the US did was a failure. Nope, not. It's interesting how you decide what the time is so that you basically avoid giving us the best two examples that are out there. So you decide the timeline. And also, that's not even true. Panama regime change worked out very well, and that was after World War II. So even though you decided to select the time in a way to exclude all the good examples, even with that timeline, your statement is not true. Yeah. Okay. This was fun hanging out with you guys. This was a good chat, and we have similar chats in our discussion group. But over there, you got to talk as well. It's not just. I mean, the webinars is still me talking, but we also have group calls where you get to open your mic and talk as well. So just once you come into our discussion group, it's called Liberty Politics. Just look at the calendar to see when our next group call is. All right. And don't forget to like. And if you're new here on this channel, don't forget to follow. Follow this channel. All right. We have a lot of great discussions here. And we have a very lively chat. Thank you, guys. Oh, you guys are sweet. Saying thank you, Armin. Oh, you guys. Oh. Okay. All right. I've got. I'm being silly. All right, guys. Bye. I'm Israel Chai. Javicha. Mwah.